Fuso starting grid, and we see that Jamie Whincup will start from pole position with the Dunlop soft tyre on the car. Alongside him, his teammate is Craig Lowndes. It's all Team Vodafone up front. Second row of the grid, Will Davis in position 3. He's in the Trading Post car, and Mark Winterbottom, he's on the soft tyre alongside. David Reynolds and Fabian Coulthard next, 5th and 6th. Fabian's been having a ripping weekend so far.
There's the youngest man there, Shane van Gisbergen against James Courtney.
Here?
And,
two stalled cars.
Yeah, drama at the top there. So we'll run you through that Fuso starting grid and keep an eye on what's going on here. Wow, that's really weird. Lee Holdsworth 13th and Dean Fiore in 14th position as they try and get the Bottle O Ford moving on the front straight. James Moffat and Jason Bright there. There's Jonathan Webb and Tony D'Alberto making up position 17 and 18. So remember, this qualifying session took place earlier today, then they had to go out and do race 8. So this has been locked in since earlier this morning. You have to bring that straight back into pit lane. Greg Murphy starting from position 24. 25th goes to Alex Premer, the Frenchman. Taz Douglas from Lucas Dumbrell Motorsport. And there is Russell Ingall. Qualified 5th, was excluded. Did the penalty fit the crime? Well, don't think so, but the rules are the rules, and he's an angry man, the enforcer, so look out for him. He's starting on hard tyres, so he'll have a good bank of softs at the end of the race to make a charge.
Update on David Reynolds, guys. Bottle O Ford, starter motor problem, hence why it wouldn't get going. Team are in a huddle here. They've got to bring the car into the lane to obviously prove that it will start under its own power. So such a shame after such a good qualifying effort.
So they've got to bring it in, demonstrate to the category technical manager that it will start under its own steam, and then Davey will have to go to the end of the pit lane and fire away. Basically, he's going to be back there with Russell Ingall.
And we're hearing lots of drivers saying it's starting to spin. So having a little sprinkle is always a good sign just before the start of a race like this, Matt. So Van Gisbergen got the car back to the right position.
Yep.
And there's Dave Reynolds into pit lane.
And Shane was trapped. He was stuck in behind David, and he couldn't get left because obviously everybody was rolling through. And very difficult, we've spoken about this before, peripheral vision around the cars is very difficult to deal with.
So remember, Whincup to the left of our screen, he's on soft tyres. His teammate Craig Lowndes on hard. Behind them, Will Davison hard tyre, Mark Winterbottom soft tyre. Off they go for the final time this weekend in the Trading Post Challenge, and as expected, Winterbottom goes right up to the rear of Whincup, and it's game on straight away, and there is definitely rain coming down.
Great start, Jamie Whincup. Lowndes went from the front row back to position 4. Water on the lens of our cameras.
The best start of the lot was Winterbottom's. It was a fantastic start from the second row, and he made it not only to the inside, but right up behind Whincup. So the battle starts immediately.
More problems here with David Reynolds' car up in the top left-hand side of screen, and that's a starter motor they're actually replacing on that car. So they couldn't kick it into life. What a drama for him. Look at this, Jason Bright making a move. Remember, there's a handful of guys on soft tyres. 2 of them are leading this race at the moment. Whincup and Winterbottom. Bright's on soft tyres. So is Greg Murphy. And so is Carl Reindler. That's the reason why Bright's racing.
So first time around, Whincup leads from Winterbottom. Davison, Lowndes, Coulthard. Here's some action at the rear of the field. Already wipers on for Steve Owen. Greg Murphy has a look on the inside. David Wall gets a nudge from Alex Premer.
This will be good news for the guys on softs. Look at that sky to the southwest. That's where the weather's coming from today. Over behind turn 7. The guys that are on softs are going to get a benefit, and it's pretty grim over the top of the circuit as well. Whincup, Winterbottom, Davison, Lowndes. Lowndes is harassing Will at the moment. Next group of cars from position 3 through to 13 are all on the hard tyre. Well, Craig's got to run at him here. He's very strong out of turn 6. But Will's braking game is so strong that there's nothing that Craig can do down there. Oh, both of them almost out of space.
That's why. They're all sliding, weren't they? They were all on the slide.
And both those guys were perilously close to turning them around there at 7, because when it's wet on the top of that curve, here's the replay of the start. It's diabolical on the painted white line. And watch Winterbottom start. Look at Whincup and Lowndes dropping back. Look at Craig. it was a tardy start for him when he dropped the clutch.
You can already see some rain spots on the windscreen of Mark Winterbottom's car, and good teamwork too, because Will Davison knew that Frosty got a better start, so he got out of the way. Check this out.
Yeah, that was close, particularly for Craig. Glossy white paint, a bit of water, doesn't mix. Watch from on board. Woo!
Gee, really lucky. Very easy to go off to the right, off to the fence. And a battle on here with Van Gisbergen having a dive at Fabian Coulthard. He's got the wiper going. We saw on the previous lap how slippery it's just started to get at this bottom end of the track. Little bumping duel down the pit straight as Van Gisbergen gets it done. Nice move. More water on our camera lens there.
Fastest lap of the race, Jamie Whincup, 56.6. And still David Reynolds stranded in pit lane. Now he's away.
So he'll be about 4 laps down by the time he gets out there and completes one. It could have been so much better because he got bumped up a spot with Russell Ingall being shoved down to the back. So Reynolds should have started from position 5. Instead, he joins the race a few laps late. Watch this. Is there contact?
Yep.
Fabian's been forced to do a fair bit of that this weekend. It's been elbows out for the Lockwood Commodore. So Davison versus Lowndes, that's 3rd and 4th. Gap at the front. Whincup has a 2.1 second lead over Winterbottom.
That's the turn 3 curb. Cars go by there at about 190 kilometres an hour before that phase of the left-hand corner that runs up the hill and then over the top of the hill to change of direction and down into the lowest section of the circuit, down into Cold Corner or the Basin. And now this run up and over the hill on the main straight back to 255 kilometres an hour. And a really strong battle from 3rd position right through to 8th there, where all the guys are on the hard tyre. Jason Bright now up to 9th on the soft tyre. There's Bright right up behind Slade.
Pretty quick pace here with the fastest lap of the race being achieved by Whincup. 56.6, that's quicker than in the previous race. Obviously a little bit more rubber on the road, but sometimes you get this odd effect where when it rains and if it just eases for a moment, you get a very brief window soon after where you can get incredible pace on occasion. They're all running very quickly at the moment, even the blokes on these hard tyres. Bright, he's on the soft tyre, remember, that's a move up to 8th.
Won't be too long before he gets past James Courtney as well.
James, as he heard in that interview earlier with Noons, is looking for a bit more feel in the car. He made several little changes to the car to try and return some feel on the hard tyre. A chat to him between races. So that's Bright to 7th. Just goes to show how tricky it is, even with a grip birthday, if you don't have track position based on your qualifying slot, how hard it is with these good guys, good cars around you to make ground. Bright's got a quick car. Putting it into effect is difficult because he's already 10.4 seconds from the lead of the race. So he'd have pretty close to an equivalent pace to Jamie, but applying it becomes such a hard problem. They're on lap 7, he's 10 seconds behind. So it's those early laps based on your qualifying position that hurt you most.
Gee, that's a big gap, isn't it? That's almost 3 seconds. So the philosophy for Ford Performance Racing and Frosty in particular was we've got to take the fight up to Jamie Whincup. We know he's going to start from pole. We know he's on soft tyres. We can't let him get away. But he has.
Yeah, they're all happily using that exit curve again at turn 7, so not enough water down there at the moment to be bothering them, and they know instantaneously whether that's something you do again on the next lap. Get immediate feedback from the car.
And Neil, isn't this weird? You just said it, that little bit of sprinkle of rain and the cool temperature, for the first time in the whole weekend, right there, we've seen the soft tyre perform against the hard tyre. Right there, incredible.
Yeah, it's just a little window of opportunity, isn't it? We've experienced it here in years gone by. A couple of these events where we've had the wet-dry combination.
So that's on board with Greg Murphy down at turn 6, slides by Michael Patrizzi.
That's up to 10th now for Murph. He's also on the soft. 1 of 5.
And the amount of chat with the engineers to the drivers of who's on what tyre is unbelievable, because the drivers are trying to work out, am I really racing this guy because I'm on the hard, or is he on the soft and he's catching me, or whatever. It's very hard to read that when you're in the car and understand the circumstance of your speed versus the competitors.
When you sit there with your timing monitor, which you can do on your V8 Supercar app, you just watch them rise to the top. A bake and a cake. You're watching the V8 Supercars Championship on 7 and 7, mate, this afternoon, the final race of the Trading Post Perth Challenge. And Jason Bright, like a few others around him, is a sniper with soft tyres, picking him off as he goes past. So he goes up to 4th spot. Bright started 16th. Greg Murphy on the soft tyre started 24th. He's now 8th. Carl Reindler on the soft tyre started 27th. He's now 15th.
That was Andrew Edwards on screen. He's the engineer for Jason Bright. Bright's the mover in the pack that we're watching. He's about to put a move on Davison. He's on the soft tyre. You can see the yellow light illuminated in behind the screen. It's near impossible to pick the tyre walls. Bright's called for a little roll centre tweak on that Team BOC car. This is Tony D'Alberto getting loose at turn 4. Got out in the weeds, looked like he was helped. So Bright's asking for an improvement on this car when they make their stop. So he's up to 4th. And he's trying to get into position 3 at the moment, using these soft tyres to advantage. He looks down the inside at 6 and looks and makes it work. Will didn't even bother. They're all fully informed as to who's on what tyre, so Davison knows no point trying to fumble either of them at this point. They'll all match up later in the day.
Isn't it funny when a guy gets into a groove and has a go-to turn, especially when on the soft tyre? So he's made turn 6 his go-to. He's picked off everybody down there.
Got a lot of the inside curb then at turn 7. It bunny hopped. Picked up the inside wheel like a go-kart through there. So top 3 cars are all on the soft tyre. There's the next man in the queue with a soft tyre. It's Greg Murphy, he's 8th. Carl Reindler's on them as well in 15th.
I'll tell you what though, Jamie Whincup on the soft tyre against Mark Winterbottom, who's same, has a 5.8 second lead.
That's very unusual based on the racing quality we've seen between both those fellas this year, to see such a margin in Jamie's favour on the same tyre. Meantime, this little battle continues between Lowndes and Shane van Gisbergen.
And this is going to be a battle all day. Those three guys, based on their speed at this point, very important pit stops coming up in the next 7 or 8 laps. So the way that this pans out for them on the hard tyre, you can see there how close. Look at that, 0.0. So basically 3 of those 4 laps there, no difference in their lap times. And on one of them was the lap that Jason Bright made an overtaking manoeuvre on Craig Lowndes, which is where the half a second gap come back for Shane van Gisbergen.
So there's Carl Reindler. He's the 5th car in the pack today of 28 that's got the soft tyre on. This year we've also put that yellow light in the passenger side rear as well, just so it makes it easier for you at home to be able to see it, and everybody at the racetrack as well. Oh, Taz Douglas
will be
in the bunker. The iSelect Holden Commodore. And is that down at turn 1?
Yep.
And a bit of help along the way. And
safety car boards and flags, safety car standby, safety car standby.
Race director Tim Schenken up in race control. So Tony D'Alberto, and now they take the opportunity to swap tyres, grab some fuel. So D'Alberto involved in that one with Douglas at turn 1. Lowndes and Shane van Gisbergen in. So's Greg Murphy, James Courtney, Tim Slade, Garth Tander, Lee Holdsworth. Congestion will be the key word here.
Oh, and stacking, because you've got Triple Eight car. Lowndes is in first, but you've got Courtney and Tander together trying to be serviced.
Look at that.
Oh, close.
It looked worse than it was, I think.
Yeah.
Safety car obviously going to grab this field. It's going to be interesting to see what this does.
So you're going to have to go around there, mate. You're going to have to come around the GRM, boys. We've got to get the 4 cold tyres.
What's all that in the background?
Let's have a quick look at our tyres, please, boys.
Yeah,
Make
what
sure
is
we've got R1. Nice and steady from me. Clutch and brake.
Okay, we're going to manage each other on the exit.
So Whincup, Winterbottom, Bright, Davison, Coulthard. Oh, well done. Perfect timing, boys. What a job.
Synchronised pit stop.
And for the guys who are going on to soft tyres now, which is most of the field, this is a much longer segment of the race that they'll have to do on the soft tyre. This will be very interesting in terms of how they make them live.
Wow, so the safety car still out there as they retrieve Taz Douglas's car from turn 1. We'll take a break.
Yellow CPS light on, mate. Yellow CPS light on. Fair enough. So, you know, how much should I blaze here, do you reckon? You've got to make these tyres last 34 laps, so, yeah, Do what you can, mate.
Okay, safety car, we're going to have to do another lap, safety car. Do another lap so you can increase your speed up to 120 on the straights, 120 on the straights, over.
So an extra 8 for cars behind us. Position made, going obviously.
So we're back, and the safety car's still out there. Jamie Whincup at the front of the queue. But then you go down to 15th and 16th to find Craig Lowndes and Shane Van Gisbergen, who were the first into pit lane. They've been burnt.
There's been a drama with the safety car. There's in terms of them picking up the right car, because Lowndes should have been, and Van Gisbergen, they really should have been the beneficiary.
That's right. We've been sitting here puzzling, looking at our computer timing, because Craig and Shane are down in 15th and 16th, and we understand that the wrong car was grabbed by the safety car in this process. And quite complex to unravel in your head. But they came in first. You saw that before we went to the break, and they've been buried in the field.
Well, I'm not really sure, mate, because Leon finished the lap before.
So another lap to be completed by the safety car, and then we'll go racing again.
80 kilometres away, 80 kilometres, lights racing accelerator away from the field car, one to maintain speed.
Race director Tim Schenken.
Certainly lit up the radios on a lot of competitors up and down the field at the moment as they all offer their editorial view of this. Meantime, Whincup and Winterbottom are still the guys battling at the top of the field, and here they are. So Whincup on the hard tyre.
Green.
Oof. Bag up on the cold tyres for Whincup, cold hard tyres.
So I think when they picked the wrong car up, they've had to let Craig Lowndes and Shane Van Gisbergen go by. Then they've grabbed Whincup. They've come back around. So that's why they're in the middle of the field. So that's the only way I can explain how they basically lobbed themselves into 15th and 16th position.
I've got an ice cream headache trying to work it out, frankly. I need more than the V8 app to unravel that one.
Up on two wheels for Michael Caruso. So this is the order. Whincup from Winterbottom, then Jason Bright and Will Davison. Michael Patrizzi 5th, Rick Kelly, Fabian Coulthard, Carl Reindler, Michael Caruso and Stephen Johnson. Hasn't that mixed it up?
It certainly has.
Davison alongside Bright, over the rise, down towards turn 7. Get it on the inside line. And that's the view looking out of the back of our race winner earlier today, Will Davison. Now 43 points back on the championship table after bringing the lead into this event. More dramas down at turn 7, so he's gone really wide. David Reynolds.
So, yeah.
This is just odd. You should say. It's a good thing we don't have commentary cam at the moment, because we're just all shaking our heads and looking at each other trying to unravel this mess.
So all we can say now, in real Raceland, this is a great battle between Whincup and Winterbottom. Now on the hard tyres, Davison now on the soft tyre. Davison's got to try to make these tyres live for the longest segment we've seen so far with the soft tyre. And with Jamie Whincup, he's got to make sure that he stays in contact with Davison close enough that when Davison's tyre starts to deteriorate, that he can go and grab him near the end. That's the best way I can try to explain it.
So hard tyre for Whincup. Davison's on the soft tyre. The computer timing's got all that wrong. Patrizzi currently in genuine third at the moment, and I think he's on the soft tyre. Yes, if his light is correctly illuminated. Here goes Will down the inside now for that move. So Mark's point here, we'll just focus on what we know, and this is going to be a very, very big test for Will to see if he can do the impossible juggle. How do you combine pace and reduce tyre wear. That'll be the thing. You've got to get to lap 50 now on this tyre set. Here's Patrizzi. Big move for the WA boy down the inside. Great job.
Roland, Craig's back to mid-pack 14th. You're not happy?
No, I'm not happy. That was a disgraceful bit of race management. So I hope they apologise for it afterwards. That was a really dire call. We're meant to have somebody up in there spotting who's leading in these situations. It's an absolute complete cock-up.
From your point of view, what was the scenario that Craig was called as the leader while he was in the lane?
Yeah, they called him as the leader while he was in pit lane. Clearly wasn't. You only had to look at the monitor to see that. So it's just a disgraceful bit of race management, and we should be better than that after all these years.
Jamie on hard tyres now. What can you salvage here? He's got a piranha pack of guys on softs around him as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a safety car on that strategy, it's not ideal. But having said that, these other guys have got to make those softs last a long way now. So, I mean, Jamie's had brilliant pace, and earlier in the day as well. Just Will was very competitive earlier and got the strategy call right with no safety car. So now it's not ideal, but I think there's a lot to play out now with the variation in the tyre.
Thanks, RD.
Thank you.
Not mincing his words, team principal from Team Vodafone, Roland Dane. So that puts a bit more explanation to the whole thing. So they picked up, we knew that they picked up the wrong person. I wasn't sure whether it was Craig. So Will Davison is the leader. He's already got a half-second margin over Michael Patrizzi. The question mark for him, he's got to put this extraordinary stint together on a soft tyre. Back in 2009, Craig Lowndes did an amazing job of managing his soft tyre around here. He had pace. In fact, he used them a couple of times, and he made them do an extraordinary long stint. The right combination of car setup and weather and driver input made it work. And Will Davison's going to have to conjure up those kinds of special skills to get this job done. We'll have a look at the field go through here. We'll sort them out for you. Will Davison, Michael Patrizzi, Whincup, Rick Kelly, Winterbottom, Coulthard, Bright, Caruso, Johnson, Owen, Wall, Fiore, Lowndes, Van Gisbergen. They were the guys affected 13th and 14th. Courtney, Slade, Ryan, LaMoffat, Ingle, Tander, Holdsworth, Webb, Prema. Behind him, Greg Murphy and Todd Kelly in that little battle.
Now, regarding that safety car, just before we went to the break and we saw the Pettis safety car coming out, I thought that I saw it in front of Lowndes, and I reckon that's exactly what's happened. Pretty sure we've got the vision, so let's check this out. So there's the Pettis safety car. It's now been called.
So this is our replay, I should say, of earlier.
And
they've just misidentified the cars.
Yep. Yep.
So, those guys in that pack, Lowndes, Van Gisbergen, Courtney and Slade, they lost all those positions, basically 13 or 14 positions. And a lot of guys also benefited from that. Rick Kelly, Michael Caruso, Steve Johnson, Steve Owen, they all benefited. They grabbed 10 or 15 spots the other way. And as we have now shown you, Will Davison, Michael Patrizzi on soft tyres, Jamie Whincup. The real intrigue in this race now is Whincup trying to stay in touch with Davison. And at the end of this race, how much will Davison lose as the tyre starts to drop off?
This is an outstanding performance for Michael Patrizzi. We should spend a moment focused on him, car number 91. This is a 888 Race Engineering built car from Techno Autosports in Queensland. He's been in and out of the series a bit in the past, and he's got a full-time ride again this year. His previous best result was a 9th back in, where was it? Simmons Plains, 2009. So this is a great job for these fellas inside the Techno garage. Well done, boys.
28 years of age. Wouldn't that be something if Michael Patrizzi could end up on the podium here in his home state in front of a big crowd at Barbagallo Raceway. Will Davison has the lead, though. Halfway mark. 23 laps to go in this race. It has been tipped on its head by the safety car, the ensuing troubles, and now the soft versus hard tyre debate. So Will Davison leading. This is a battle between Rick Kelly and Mark Winterbottom, the Jack Daniels car coming across to the left-hand side of the circuit.
Check it out. This is ugly. Here we are on board with Frosty. And he was so close to getting turned across the nose of Mark Winterbottom, then Rick Kelly. Not leaving enough space. He's trying to ease him out, and he's got to leave him a bit of room on the left there. But they all managed to get away with it. In the end, Winterbottom got down the inside, but that was all awkward. Now, remember that Chris O'Toole on screen there, Jamie Whincup and Mark Winterbottom on the hard tyre. Interesting thing to focus on here is the margin, because Whincup is 2.1 seconds behind his teammate Davison in the lead of the race, and Winterbottom's 3.2 behind, and we're basically just a little past halfway. That's the snapshot.
Ross Stone, your man Shane Van Gisbergen's back to 14th out of all that drama with the safety car before. Your take on the situation?
Actually, it's really a tough call, you know. It actually cost him 11 places when the race restarted. And, you know, in this business, if you fire a wheel nut across the road, you know, you're penalised heavily. So what do you do when somebody pings you 11 laps, like 11 positions like that? You know, it's just so frustrating. I don't know what we can do about it. We've emailed into race control and they said they'll refer it to the stewards, but can't see them doing anything about it.
Just seeing on the screen there, Ross, the vision of what was unfolding down the hill, just missed it. But Lee Holdsworth too, he's further back to the pack, he's 20th, so it's a tough day.
Yeah, roughly all three of our cars are taken out of play, all by 11 laps, you know. So tough day now. It's just a long way to go on those soft tyres. So we can just keep battling on and see what happens.
Push on.
Thanks.
Pretty angry Ross Stone. Doesn't often get animated, but he too frustrated by all that. So yeah, that'll be one that I'm sure gets analysed, discussed in detail midweek when everybody gets back to home base and try and unravel how stuff like that can happen. And that's why we end up, we love the passion in the business, but that's why we end up, for example, with guys down at, here it is again, by the way, Petter's safety car. So Lowndes and Gizzy go by, so they just keep on going and end up buried in the train. .1 seconds is the gap, Will Davis and Michael Patrizzi. So Michael continuing to stroll along with very good pace here. He's matching the race leader at the moment. That gap back to Whincup, that's the one that I'm really focused on, is 2 seconds to Jamie, 3 seconds back to Frosty. So already the two guys in the top group that are on the hard tyre are holding lap time position. Oh dear, that was ugly for Alex Premer. Had a big lock up into 6. He released the brake knowing that he needed to surf out the other side of the sand trap down there. He got it done, but that will have put a monster flat spot on that inside front down there for sure. So already the guys that are on the hard tyres have found stable pace relative to those on the soft. There's still a lot of laps remaining.
That's right, the last lap 58.11 for Davison, 58.19 for Whincup. So just started now to stabilise.
So if you remember in race 8, Will Davison did 25 to 26 laps on the soft tyre. Here, he's going to have to do about 35.
Now Bright's in this little group as well. He's on the hard tyre, and he's now starting to pick off those with degrading soft tyres.
On board now with Michael Caruso. He was one of the beneficiaries of the safety car drama. He's up in 8th position, and he's on the soft tyre.
After starting in 21st.
And Jason Bright doing the opposite to what he did yesterday. So he's been tweaking that car all weekend, making it stronger. Ooh, here we go. Rick left him a bit of space down there in case he could get it done. The two of them got through there neatly at turn 1. Michael had to tuck in behind through the S's.
Jason will Bright is the car up in front. You just saw him go by Rick Kelly a little while ago. And now Caruso will be looking to get down the inside and does. Pretty a long way back though. He was battling to stop. Rick gave him room. Rick was very gentlemanly there. And as they exit, look at this straight line speed. Michael couldn't use all the exit road, so that would have impacted his final exit speed from turn 6. And they drive down the straight together, around turn 7 together, and now down the pit straight alongside each other.
It's good stuff.
A lot of togetherness there.
Stevie Johnson's having a look in.
Still going on. They're actually still doing it now at turn 1. It's unbelievable. Let's talk about the long way around for Rick. He's hanging on, hanging on. Hop, hop. Stephen Johnson, as you said, buying into it. Rick, you can't get too much further out there on those marbles because that gets ugly quickly. Steve Owen also watching and waiting. These fellas are just inside the top 10. Rick looks like he's got his hands full at the moment with those tyres and the balance of that car. Now Johnson down the inside. He's also on the soft tyre, same age as those on the Jack Daniels car. Bit of a queue forming here. Here comes Lowndes. Won't be a barrel of laughs inside that helmet at the moment in car number 888. Getting carted right over to the inside there is David Wall. He's up the inside now of Steve Owen.
Something weird has happened with Van Gisbergen because Lowndes and Van Gisbergen come out together. Yep. They were in the train. And Lowndes is coming through the field very strongly. He's in 12th. Van Gisbergen down in 17th. He's back behind Russell Ingall and James Courtney. So there's been some drama in there.
450th race start in the Australian Touring Car Championship. Debuted, of course, in 1996 so spectacularly, and has done it and won it all, including 13 victories at this circuit.
Scott, you asked the question about Shane Van Gisbergen. He complained a couple of laps ago. He thought he had a drama with tyres. They came out into the lane thinking that he might need to come in, but they think it's just some pickup that spooked him a little bit, and hence why he's lost a bit of ground.
It's amazing how that feels in the car. Sometimes you'd swear that, like, it's as though, for those of you that have ever had a wheel out of balance, one of the HRT cars has just dived in there as well just then. If you had a wheel massively out of balance on your road car and that shake that goes through your car, that's what the feeling's like. And you often think, gee, something's broken, we've got a major problem. But it's often just these clumps of rubber that we see.
Waiting on the tyres, waiting on the tyres.
Tander's been really complaining about oversteer, being in the rear of the car. So they put some fresh tyres.
Now, you've heard the boys talking there a lot about how this degradation is going to play out. Now, you recall, let's just rewind. We showed you the whiteboard at the start there. And remember, we looked at a 25-lap period of the race. Well, if we now call that, what did they come in, lap 18, I think it was, through to lap 50, cross those numbers out. So that means they've got to do 32 laps. Now, we know the hard tyre, there's the hard tyre degradation, but the soft tyre comes on a big degradation and really drops away. And we're talking magnitudes of seconds here. Now, that 25 laps, you know, we saw this morning, 20 to 22 laps is about it. Yes, Will Davo did about 26, but that 26 to 32 is going to be the real danger period, and how he manages, in particular, the left rear tyre. Might show you in a minute what I'm talking about.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. We had a look at that with you on the start line earlier at the beginning of this race also, just talking about tread depth on the tyres. Here's Whincup and Winterbottom. Once again, remember, these guys are together, and Winterbottom's been getting closer here in this battle. It was a second apart when I made the call a little while ago about these two, both on the hard tyre. It's the margin to the leaders that's critical here, and they're, well, 2.5 to 3 seconds away. They've actually lost a little bit of ground, about half a second thereabouts on the leaders. Traffic's affecting that slightly as well. But again, I can't say enough about the drive here for Michael Patrizzi. It's not a different strategy. He's in position. He's doing a very good job. And I'm interested to see that some are now going, you know what, let's get off the soft tyre and get back on the hard and do the run to the end. Tander was the first to flinch, and I think that was Van Gisbergen that's coming in to do the same. We'll watch that one.
day this is turning out to be for the local. Michael Patrizzi, 28 years old, born in Kalgoorlie. Very proud West Australian, having his second bite, if you like, at the main game of V8 Supercars. A wealth of karting experience, done some racing overseas as well, raced in the Porsche Carrera Cup. And now he's looking at a podium finish if he can hold on, stay ahead of both Whincup and Winterbottom, coming at him on harder tyres. So Will Davison leads the race on soft tyres. Patrizzi second on the soft tyre. Whincup and Winterbottom joined at the hip on the hard tyres. 10 laps to go. You want to call it?
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's a real nail biter.
Go on, give us your prediction.
I reckon the hard tyre blokes will prevail. That's my view. They'll get there in the end. But a correction to my earlier remark before we went to the break, because I had a feeling that Tander had gone back onto the hard tyre. He hasn't. He's gone back onto another set of the softs. But either way, getting off a dying set of tyres and back onto a healthier set of tyres, will be curious to see how that plays for Garth. He's down in 24th at the moment. Great onboard shot here with Frosty. These two will be sick of the sight of each other. From recent past, they've just been locked in combat, haven't they, in their racing? It's been great stuff for us, though. And he's got a little bit more pace. Interesting that Jamie was stronger on the soft tyre than Frosty, but it's the other way around on the hard tyre. He's been eking that little margin back slowly but surely, Winterbottom.
Yeah, just talking to the HRT boys there, Neil, the reason they put those soft tyres on, just hoping for the best, you know, like all of us, that these soft tyres drop off the edge of a cliff.
Hey, the other thing, Larko, if you can just have a look to the west for us, it looks pretty gruesome. Any thoughts on whether or not it's going to rain?
Oh, mate, look, whenever I wanted to answer that question, I ring Neil Crompton.
Yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
You've spent a career, Larko, with the wrong tyres on your car anyway, whether they were wets or dries, so we wouldn't really take your word for it.
Oh, I said the pot to the kettle.
Whincup and Winterbottom are rounding up Patrizzi here. It's as close as they've been to the back of car 91. Michael turned 28 on Friday.
This would be a fair birthday present, wouldn't it?
Yeah. He's doing a great job.
He's driving it really well.
We haven't seen any lockups, we haven't seen any moments. He's hitting all his targets. This is a small team. Got good gear. The white and the red cars are actually built at the same location. The amount of brake dust in the front of them as well. It's always been a hard place on brakes, this.
Just stepped into Techno Autosport with team manager Bruce Jenkins. Michael's holding the pace here. Can he do it for another 8 laps?
Yeah, I believe he can. We're good with tyres and we're also good with fuel, so we'll see where we end up.
Is it a race result like this that's the becoming of a driver like Michael, who's been around the championship, he's come back in this year, he's on home soil, he's had a birthday, all the planets are aligning.
Absolutely, it's good for the team and it's great for Michael, so let's just give it another 8 laps and we'll see where we are.
We'll let you get back to it.
Thank you.
Nice positive outlook at Techno Autosports, but the outlook above us is not so positive. So only 8 laps to go. He's just going to have to hold them out here. He's going to have to drive very, very wide. Elbows out.
Now, you know what I'd be doing? If I was Will Davison, I'd be saying, go Michael. Because he needs to hold these guys up. He needs to effectively hurt the pace of Whincup and Winterbottom to give him a break, doesn't he? So you go Michael.
Jamie Whincup's been very measured. I watched that last lap around on the front straight there. He just tucked in behind Patrizzi. He's just biding his time. Obviously, turn 6 is a good spot to have a crack, which is coming up now. Now he's just telegraphing. I'm here.
This is the spot. This is the spot. Out of here.
Oh, he's got a great run this time. Much better drive out of 6, up the inside. And Michael just couldn't get power to the road.
But this is pretty wild. Oh, he's battling to stop it.
Now this releases these two a little because Michael's tyres have begun to hurt. 6 to go and 2.7 seconds is the gap between Davison and Whincup. That's the story. But it's been a great job, Michael Patrizzi. Well done. Even if he comes away from this with a 4th place, he can hold his head up high. The next man after him is Jason Bright on the hard tyre, so Michael's got to try and preserve this tyre set to get him home because the Team BOC car is lurking in the background.
Yeah, Bright's about 2.5 seconds adrift at Patrizzi. So Will Davison has that lead at the front, 2.6 over Whincup. Winterbottom now third. Reindler involved in a bit of push and shove down at turn 1 with James Moffat.
Always hold my breath when everyone sizes up for a 2x2 through turns 2 and 3 in that little chicane there. I'm impressed with Will Davison. He's hanging on. He's making those tyres live. He's asking them to do the near impossible. 2.4 seconds the gap, Will Davison, Jamie Whincup and Kremer, who we saw touring the sand a little bit earlier. He's down in 25th.
There's the wheel spin. Hear the wheel spin then.
Lee Holdsworth reported to me before the start of this race that on the soft tyres, his fronts were going early.
I just checked with Grant McPherson, engineer for Will Davison. Oh, I'm not convinced by the body language that he thinks he can get there. I've never heard anyone call 6 laps of Barbagallo a long way, but he's certainly, I don't think there's going to be many fingernails left by the end of this one, boys.
It's a really good point, Nudes. Lowndes on Coulthard
for position 6.
So he's charged his way back through this field.
Been a great drive, actually.
Here we go. Oh, that gap is diminishing big time. 1.9 seconds is the gap. Davison, Whincup. Where's your money? Where's your money? Come on.
Oh, all of a sudden you're buying into the game.
I'm feeling a little bit better now. Oh, this is great, though. We love the fact that there's 3 big players here at the pointy end, different strategies, bit of weather in the background, couple of brands. Davison, Whincup, Winterbottom, 1, 2, 3. Total margin across the 3 of them, 2.2 seconds. You can spot them there on the run, down into turn 6.
Oh, this would be a safety car.
Tim, the podium is as yesterday's race. I'll talk to
Rick Kelly gets out, David Wall does not. It's buried. You're right, it'll trigger a safety car. What is this going to mean?
And that'll mean gap.
No gap.
Gone.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Frank.
What an unbelievable sport.
You go, mate. 3 to go.
Well,
keep pushing on, doing a great job.
They haven't called it yet. It's still a green racetrack at the moment. They haven't called it yet.
And it's now 1.4 seconds is the gap. So check this out. Rick Kelly, David Wall behind him. The Wilson security car. They make contact on the main straight. And the sand does the rest.
Now, I've heard on the back channel that they're likely to leave it there to let the race run clean and green to the end. So no safety car is the word. It's 1.2 seconds between Davison and Whincup. Turn 6. The boys down at FPR at Trading Post are right. It's the longest 6 laps in the history of their garage. It's going to be another nail-biter. Round to round. New Zealand was the same. There's the team principal for Ford Performance Racing, Tim Edwards. Will Davison trying to get another win up. And Frosty just absolutely latched to the back of Whincup. Let's check that margin for you again.
2 to go, mate. 2 to go.
It's 0.7, 3/4 of a second between Will and Jamie.
Extraordinary.
Eating him alive. The lead car's on soft tyres. He's done 33 laps on those soft tyres. Positions 2 and 3, Whincup and Winterbottom are on the hard tyre. They'll be a bit sad too, but not nearly as bad as the bloke who's leading. Can he hang on? Can he get his elbows up high and wide?
And the spot is down here because you've got to get the run onto the main straight. This is fantastic.
Does Whincup have a dive this time around? No, he tucks it right underneath.
He's going to get an exit here. Whincup will come out of here with a lot of throttle angle. He tries to get power, but he gets the slide at the wrong moment. He'll have a nibble at 7 and probably again at 1. He's on him. He's in the draft. He moves to the inside, Whincup, but Wilbur covers him down the inside. This is fantastic.
Look at the garages.
Last lap, you've got him.
2.4 kilometres to run, and Davison's got the lead into 1. Whincup's got to do everything. He'll throw the lot at him down at 6. They're all nose to tail, swapping paint, sideways. It's almost 3 wide at turn 2. It's unheard of.
How on earth did Will Davison hold on to the lead there? The car was going the wrong way that he wanted it to, and he knows that Whincup is now in position to take a big lunge at him down at turn 6. But Winterbottom buys in as as well. They all crisscross. Davison does the cover job beautifully. Now he's going to have to hold out on the push up the hill.
Watch Frosty. Frosty's got great drive here as well. This is unbelievable. What about this? Winterbottom's going to get up the inside, and I reckon Will might hang on here.
Get them or have them off. Both of them.
Get him or have him off was the call. This is an extraordinary drive for Will Davison. You're a legend. Well done.
That's as good as it gets. And as tight as it will ever be.
1-2, FPR. Wow, that was fantastic motor racing.
As good as I've ever seen.
Unbelievable. And how that young bloke made those things survive the duration. Bright got to fourth, by the way. Bright got to fourth.
Michael Patrizzi, 50. Hang on. So that's a good job from young Michael. But what about this?
Has the margin. 0.49 of a second.
How was out of turn one where they're all bumping each other? It was out of control.
Well done.
Yeah. Mark Winterbottom applauds a great effort for his teammate. 35 laps on that soft tyre. If he does a burnout, he'll pop him.
Look, they're all worn out.
Where's Larko on the tread depth indicator now? I reckon I can answer it. It'll come up about a 0.
Wow. What a finish. These three guys in particular have just raised the bar this year. Jason Bright, 4th. Michael Patrizzi, career best finish in 5th. And Lowndes did a great job to fight his way back through the field after a mistake made by the safety car. Stevie Johnson inside the top 10. 11th goes to Greg Murphy. There's Steve Owen in the middle of that at 16th. Shane Van Gisbergen got left out behind. I tell you what, there's not much rubber left, but somehow he's managed to do some circle work to celebrate this one.
Doesn't know where he is now, Matt.
Neither do we.
I think he's going to have to walk back.
Well, that was value for money, folks. How good was that? And it was, I said it was 0.49 back to between Will and Frosty, and then it was 0.05 back to Jamie. I mean, it was just, that's crazy.
And we started our telecast today saying red versus blue, this rivalry, but that was the rivalry at its best, the two factory teams. Look at this.
Check this out. So, Winterbottom got great drive out of turn 6, and both of them on the pick so late it was crazy. And look at this, look how close Whincup gets. I mean, they all three of them deserving race winners in many respects, and congratulations to both teams. Well done.
Ford Performance Racing partied like they won the grand final there. They turned pit lane into a mosh pit.
I think Tooley could do a bit better with his Sheffield Shield clap then. It was a bit average. Hey?
There's still smoke coming out.
Look at this.
He's going to be exhausted.
What a drive. Well done, Will Davison. Yes. Very, very good.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome drive. Oh, you superstar.
You superstar.
Some wins are sweeter than others, and that's certainly the case today. "35 laps on those soft tyres." Oh, and they'd be second-hand, wouldn't they?
That was fantastic. The weather didn't come.
Yeah.
It looked pretty ordinary out there in the last couple of moments. Windy and cool, but the rain stayed away.
William Donald, how the hell did you do that? 35 laps on a soft set of tyres. Your team are pumped.
Oh, what a race! What a oh my gosh! I thought we were done there with that safety car. I really thought, how on earth am I going to do this? And it was hard to judge my pace. Obviously, I looked after them as well as I could, but I knew they'd hit a cliff, and it actually lasted longer than I thought. But I tell you, those last 5 laps, I reckon I had nothing but canvas on the rear tyres. Last lap, I was still leading. I thought I may as well have a crack at blocking, and sure enough, I somehow held it on. It was fantastic. 1-2. Frosty nipped under Jamie there down the back straight at the end. So this is just great. Trading Post home event and 2 wins today. Couldn't be happier after yesterday.
And you got those 2 wins by playing the game 2 different ways. Perfect.
You're right. I think this is what it's all about. This is what this soft, hard tyre is all about. I hope everyone enjoyed that at home. Obviously, I went both options in the first race and the second race. That was because we had to actually reuse a tyre from yesterday on the hards because of the accident yesterday. So I didn't really think I'd hang on for that one, and I did. So we made both strategies work.
Well done, Will. We'll move across to the second part of the FPR 1-2. Mark Winterbottom, the Orcon Steel FPR car, snatching second right at the death there. Wow, that was a great finish.
It was. My car was very good on the hard, so yeah, I thought those two were going to have a crack up top. I went as mega wide as I could, and I wanted a 1-2 for the team. So we banged doors, and that's an awesome finish. That's new facility here. That's probably the best finish we've ever had in Perth. So yeah, good weekend.
Change the format for the next one, Phillip Island. We go back to single driver sprint race format. You must be pumped to be back in Victoria.
I am. Can't wait to get home. Hi to Renee and Oliver. I know they're watching, and little Oliver can hold his hands up and say, "Daddy got another trophy." So we'll see you soon.
Well done, Frosty. We move it along to the man who defended the honour for the General today, Jamie Whincup. Wow, hell of a finish there. When you were on that hard tyre, there were piranhas on soft tyres everywhere. We thought you were going to get there, but Will had enough.
Yeah, disappointing earnings. We pushed as hard as we could, and everyone here at Team Vodafone with the tools we got, we did an awesome job this weekend. So we've got to be happy with a second or third. We'll take that and run.
I get the vibe that you're pretty deflated there. Do you think you had a banker for 100 points?
It's never good getting past on the last lap. You know, it's we give it everything. We pushed hard every single lap, and as I say, with what we got, I feel everyone did an awesome job this weekend.
Great job, J-Dub.
Thanks. Cheers.
It was. He's still got the championship lead. We'll check in on that picture in just a second, but I'm going to let you two former drivers just enjoy this again, this last lap.
So radical. This is just off the scale. It's all sideways out of one, and then to see everybody pushing with no grip left like this, Mark, was a treat.
And Neil, the great thing was the strategy for each of them. They were very clever professional race driver strategies applied. And this was the telling part. Mark Winterbottom put enough pressure on Jamie Whincup to effectively protect the lead of Will Davison, and this was the move. As he got back the other side, he got a great exit, you called it, and up the inside of Whincup to take second spot.
Unbelievable. And then these two were absolutely locked in combat, Winterbottom and Whincup. Look at the nose of the cars, both plunging down at the same time. Desperately laid on the brakes, and then Frosty had to pull more lock on to cover, which means it slid. That meant that Jamie had more exit speed. 0.05 of a second was the official computer margin when they crossed the control line.
What an incredible finish.
So this is the championship picture. Remember, Will Davison came into this weekend as the leader of the series. Jamie Whincup took that out to 51 points by the end of race 8, and now it's back to 29. So Winterbottom edging closer and closer. Shane van Gisbergen in 6th. And 4 points again go to Will Davison. Let's get to the podium.
Time for the podium presentation for race 9 of the championship at the Trading Post Perth Challenge. Our winner today, Will Davison from Ford Performance Racing. In second place, Mark Winterbottom from Ford Performance Racing. In third place, Jamie Whincup from Team Vodafone. And representing the winning team, Justin Way from Ford Performance Racing. To present the trophy to third place, Rob Janney, President of the Western Australian Sporting Car Club, to Jamie Whincup. Presenting the second place trophy, Brian Unikas, National Sales Director for our race sponsor, tradingpost.com.au. To present the winning team trophy, the Honourable Terry Waldron, Minister for Sport and Recreation of Western Australia. And presenting the winner's trophy, the Honourable Colin Barnett, Premier of Western Australia, to Will Davison. Ladies and gentlemen, that's your podium in race 9 at the Trading Post Perth Challenge.
So 2 wins today for Will Davison. Mark Winterbottom winning yesterday, and after they did the double as well at Hamilton FPR. Now unbeaten in the last 5 races of the championship. What a performance.